Hey everybody, it's Dave here from Dragonhill Games, and you're watching This Week in MTG Finance. As always, and before we get started, I want to thank MTG Stocks for allowing us to use graphical information for the purposes of this video. It's been another wild week in MTG Finance. As always, most of our prices are commander driven, but our big winner this week is due to an unbanning in Pioneer. So let's dive right in, and we're going to look at the top 10 winners percentage wise this week, and we'll start right here with Jet Medallion. Our number 10 winner this week is up 24%, which is pretty substantial considering that last week this thing was already almost $22. Sitting around the $27 mark, this Commander 2014 version is actually the cheaper version. If you want the Tempest version, it's going to cost you closer to $30. Now, I've been a huge proponent of these medallions for a long time. In fact, going back to last fall, I was talking in a video about Emerald Medallion when it was around the sort of $3-4 range, and we're in double that territory right now. All of the medallions are in fresh all-time highs, huge commander demand. All of that said, I think long-term, all of them are great investments. We're never going to get enough quantity with reprint product because it's definitely going to be reprinted in some sort of commander product, but we're never going to get enough product to meet all the demand for these medallions. So in the long term, they should continue to trend up. That said, in the short term, we've got a lot of commander product coming out over the next 6 months or a year, and these are massive targets for a reprint considering it's been so long. Now, our number 9 winner this week is Koskinen Falls from Homelands, currently valued at $7, and this thing is up 30% this week. It is a reserve list card, and what we have here is a pretty bad version of Ghostly Prison. That said, we have a black Ghostly Prison. That's right. So for 4 mana, we get an enchantment. Now, during our upkeep, we have to tap an untapped creature we control, or we lose Koskinen Falls. But no creatures can attack us unless their controller pays 2 for each attacking creature. So Ghostly Prison in black. As I mentioned, it's a reserve list card, so supplies on this are extremely limited. And with all of the new awesome black strategies in Commander, Koskinen Falls is definitely getting a look. Coming in at number 8, we have Reflecting Pool from Tempest, currently valued at $31, and this is up 33% this week. One of my favorite lands. I put this into every multicolor commander deck that I have. Basically, this land just taps for any color of mana that your lands can already produce. So not mana fixing in the sense that it won't provide you with any new colors, but it can tap for basically any color that you already have. There's been a few reprintings of this card. We had one back in Conspiracy, so not too long ago, and then a reprinting in Shadowmoor with the awesome new art at the time. Both of those versions can be found for around $20, so definitely your best value if you're looking at picking up a Reflecting Pool for your commander deck. And in the number 7 spot, we have Temporal Extortion from Planar Chaos, currently valued at $14. It's the only printing of this card, and it's up 41% this week. I had a few of these listed on eBay, and I sold out of them last week, so this card has definitely been getting a lot of attention. And it's no surprise with all the awesome black strategies flying around in Commander right now. Temporal Extortion is 4 black mana. Temporal Extortion is 4 black mana. When you cast it, anyone can pay half of their life to counter it, but if they don't, you take an extra turn. So awesome extra turn spell in black. This thing doesn't exile itself from the graveyard. So if you have some sort of recursive strategy where you can get this back into your hand, something simple even like Ewit, you can really take advantage of Temporal Extortion. Coming in at number 6 this week, we have a Lurin from Tempest, currently valued at $65, and this thing's up 55% this week, which is substantial considering it was already $40 last week. Always been kind of a fun card to play around in Commander. 4 mana enchantment. Any player may play a creature card with total CMC 3 or less from their hands without playing their mana cost. So as you can imagine, this could be a really fun card, especially in something like Elf Ball where you just basically barf out your hand. But it's always been part of a combo in Legacy. Now, this combo is nothing new. It involves Parasitic Strix and Cavern Harpy. Essentially, they bounce each other, and when that happens, you gain life and opponent loses life. So basically an infinite combo that instantly happens as soon as you have a Lurin. Coming in at number 5 this week, we have Hellcat Tyrant, specifically the Commander 2016 version. This version is sitting at almost $14, and it's up 64% this week. Of note, you can get the Gatecrash version for still around $8, so that's definitely your best bet if you're looking to pick up a Hellcat Tyrant. This thing is a Commander staple. It can go in almost any red deck. 6 mana is nothing to pay in Commander. You get a flying trample 6/5 dragon, and of course, whenever he deals damage to a player, you gain control of all artifacts they control. But the kicker is, at the beginning beginning of your upkeep, if you control 20 or more artifacts, you win the game. So that never really played a whole lot unless you sort of specifically built around that as an alternate win con. That said, Gadrak, the Crown Sword from the new Core Set 2021 set, which by the way, this thing's only 50 cents. I think it's a great sort of long-term investment picking up some Gadraks. I think this will be sort of make its way into a lot of commander decks down the road. But this guy at the beginning of your end step creates a treasure token for each non-token creature that died this turn. So it really powers into something like Hellcat Tyrant. Our number 4 winner this week is an interesting one from back in the day, and that would be Tombstone Stairwell from Mirage, currently valued at $17.40, and this is up 94% this week. Reserve list card, interesting card for Commander. It's an enchantment for 4 mana, 2 black and 2. We have a cumulative upkeep of 1 black and 1, and basically during each upkeep, each player puts a number of 2/2 black zombie creatures that are unaffected by summoning sickness, so essentially they have haste, into play, and then bury those creatures at end of turn, or if Tombstone Stairwell leaves play. I'm sure this has some awesome sort of commander uses. To be honest with you, I'm not 100% why this is spiking this week, so if you know, why don't you let me know in the comments section below. And coming in at number 3, we have Honden of Cleansing Fire. This time it's the Champion of Kamigawa version, currently valued at $2.50, and this is up 128% this week. Basically, this one's just playing catch up with the Eternal Masters one. That one was on our list last week. So nothing new really to talk about here. Of course, all of the shrines are getting attention because of all the new shrines we got from Core Set 2021. And coming in at number 2 this week, we have Kasali Slingers from Commander 2017, currently valued at exactly $5, and this thing's up 151% this week. Of course, all of the cats and dogs that are good and playable are getting a bunch of attention right now because of Rin and Seri. Rin and Seri is actually a really fun commander build. Kasali Slingers, kind of hard to get your hands on. There was only a secret layer printing, and then of course the Commander 2017 printing. So these ones that have really low printings and give us good value. This particular one has essentially an Aura Shards effect on a stick, so really awesome for sure. So all of these cats and dogs that give us good sort of value, are good and playable in Commander, are tough to get your hands on, and have been rising over the course of the last couple of weeks. And our number 1 winner this week is absolutely no surprise, up 263%. We have Oath of Nissa from Oath of the Gatewatch. Of course, this was banned in Pioneer and has recently, with the last banning and restricting announcement, has been unbanned from Pioneer. So super good sort of deck filtering type card. 1 mana, we get a legendary enchantment when it enters the battlefield. We look at the top 3 cards of our library, and then we can of course reveal a creature, land, or planeswalker from those and put it into our hand, put the rest on the bottom of our library in any order. Pretty good deal for 1 mana, and then of course we can spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast planeswalker spells. So nice mana fixing as well. This card was kind of getting abused when Pioneer was sort of first introduced as a format. They quickly threw the ban hammer at this thing, but I guess they feel like it does have a place in the format after all. So of course the unbanning has resulted in a massive spike this week. All right, before I get into cards I'm investing in this week, as always, if you're a subscriber, you know I want to thank you for being here. I really appreciate your support. And if not, now's a great time to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I post at least 2 videos every week. If you're interested in supporting this channel, I've included an Amazon link in the description of this video. And whether you're using that Amazon link to buy a brand new smoke detector or an awesome deck box you just can't find at your local game store, using that link greatly helps support this channel. All right, the first one I want to bring to your attention this week is Planar Void from Urza's Saga, currently valued at around $1. I mentioned this one back in the fall and was sitting around 35 cents, but even at $1, I think this is a fantastic investment. It's the only printing of the card. They seem to have no interest in reprinting this card, and it's kind of like a poor man's Leyline of the Void. For 1 mana, we get an enchantment. Whenever a card is put into the graveyard, remove that card from the game. So super good for something like Commander, even if it's just sort of a backup strategy for something like Rest in Peace or Leyline of the Void, if you happen to have your play group utilizes the graveyard a lot. Now, a couple things to keep in mind with Planar Void: it doesn't exile cards that are already in the yard when you put it into play. And one nice thing about Planar Void is if it ends up getting removed from play and going to the graveyard, it doesn't exile itself, like Rest in Peace would. All right, up next I have Rael, One Volley Recluse from Core Set 2021. At $1.40, I think this thing is an absolute steal. I was actually having a conversation with a couple of people in my store over the weekend, and I think this is actually one of the big sleepers from this set. Now, it's never going to be the most valuable card in the set. You know, things like Ugin and sort of Grim Tutor are always going to have that sort of honors from Core Set 2021, but I think this is a card that going down the road is going to get a lot of attention and make its way into a lot of decks, especially in Commander. We're already seeing it get a ton of play in Standard, Modern, even Pioneer, and of course Commander. So for a card to see this much play, there's no reason why down the road it's not double or triple where it is today. All right, and before we get to our speculation play for the week, I want to introduce you to a new section I'm going to be adding to This Week in MTG Finance, and that's going to be called our cheap pickup for the week. So All of This is a perfect example. These aren't necessarily cards that are great long-term investments, more so cards that are a great price to be picking up now if you need to add them to your personal collection. So let's have a look at All Is Dust. This card's been reprinted into oblivion. I mean, we had, of course, the original Rise of the Eldrazi version, a Modern Masters 2015 version, an Ultimate Masters version, and now we have the Mystery Booster version. So picking this up for $4.50 to add to your personal collection is a really good buy. All right, and last but not least, we have our speculation play for the week. That's right, it's Baron Tolarian Archmage from Core Set 2021. I can't believe this thing's only 75 cents. I guess it's because in a lot of decks, it's seeing play as maybe a 2 of and not necessarily a 4 of, but this card is getting attention in formats as deep as Legacy. Of course, we also have some Standard and Modern decks. It's only a matter of time until Modern and Pioneer really sort of latch onto this guy. Super good value, just 3 mana. When it enters the battlefield, we return up to one other target creature or planeswalker to its owner's hand, and then of course at the beginning of your end step, if a permanent was put back into your hand from the battlefield this turn, you draw a card. Like I mentioned, it's already showing up in certain combo kind of decks in Legacy, so it's only a matter of time until this really latches on in Standard and Pioneer, and then of course Commander. Great pickup, 75 cents. All right, I really hope you guys enjoyed this episode of This Week in MTG Finance. If you did, go ahead and smash that like button. It really helps me out, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.